All right, the sirens are going off. It's time for the Maximum Edge Sports Wagering Show. My name is John Santucci. Call me Tooch. You know, the sirens are going off, which means we got Game Day OJ here to talk Houston sports with Anthony. Anthony's in the sidecar. Rachel, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Doing excellent. Looking forward to talking a little Houston sports with you, Anthony and I. When you were talking before the show, the Houston Texans have a new head coach, and Anthony and I are very familiar with former Bears head coach Lovie Smith, who brought the Bears to a Super Bowl. What's the feeling down in Houston, and how are you liking the hire?
Oh man, it's weird. It's kind of a catch-22, right? Oh wow, I'm on the whole screen now. It's kind of a catch-22, right? Because it's hard not to like Lovie Smith, like just as a person, as a human being. Like he wins press conferences, and by all accounts, everybody that knows him, everybody that's close to the organization, you can't help but be happy for the guy. With that being said, from a fan standpoint of like what they want for this franchise, what the city wants for the franchise, hoping, dreaming, clinging to some idea that there will be success for the Houston Texans, the expectations are very low. The feeling is the exact same feeling that it was with the previous head coach, that he's just kind of a stopgap, that he is a person who's going to go out there. He's not going to embarrass you. He's going to win press conferences, like I said, and he's great for PR, right? David Coley, nobody believes that he was ever intended to be here to like bring a championship to Houston. That's kind of how the feeling is with Lovie Smith, although he's way more qualified than David Coley was. David Coley was about to retire. He had never been anything other than an assistant. Been in the league for a long time, but never given a head coaching opportunity. So this guy is a lot more qualified. And let me tell you this. I know the last time we talked, I told you guys the Texans were going to hire Josh McCown.
Right.
What happened after I said that? It was all over the media. I was like, oh my God, the Texans are really about to hire Josh McCown. Then the Flores stuff comes out, and he mentions the Houston Texans in his lawsuit. It was almost like he was kind of encouraging David Coley to join the class action lawsuit. But because of the implications there, because he was cited in that lawsuit, the Houston Texans freaked out, and they said, you know what? We fired David Coley, right? And it's a bad look because he is a minority coach. These allegations are coming out. Everybody who's close to the organization feels like that is kind of, I don't know how to say it without sounding crass, but a lot of people feel like that's why they hired Lovie Smith, because look, they were this far into the interview process. So much time had gone by. They were one of the only teams left that hadn't hired a head coach. I think the Saints hadn't hired one either yet, but they knew who they were going to get because it came at the recommendation of Sean Payton. They knew they were going to hire Dennis. He's worked for the Texans. His name evades me, but you know what I'm talking about. Point is, the Texans had not interviewed Lovie Smith for the position. They had interviewed about 6-7 other people. They were really narrowing it down to Brian Flores and Josh McCown. That stuff comes out. They're like, you know what, Josh McCown, it's a bad look. He has no coaching experience whatsoever. He's a white dude, getting an opportunity that there are so many other people that people feel like are more deserving of it. Josh McCown didn't even want the job last year. They offered it to him last year. He didn't want it. He wanted to take a year off of football, like get away from the league to go be with his family and volunteer coach his kid's high school team. So it was just a bad look all the way around. And you thank Brian Flores for Lovie Smith getting the job, because very, very qualified. Don't get me wrong, but don't tell me that that's who they were zoned in on, because it wasn't. They had never interviewed him for this position.
Right. And, with Lovie Smith, Anthony, you and I are quite familiar with him. And, you're going to get players running through a brick wall for him. And you get that West Texas drawl.
I love it.
Press conferences, the easy going. What are your thoughts?
Good fit here.
Lovie's going to do a good job, and they'll be competitive.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
They're going to build the defense. I mean, that's number one thing he does best is build the defense. And I'm really bummed out that he didn't do well in college in Illinois. I thought that was a great opportunity. Just nobody wants. There's no top players want to go to Illinois. I mean, it's just a school that you really, really hard to recruit for. But I think he's going to do really well in Houston. He's not going to win a championship. He's just like we talked about earlier. He's like a 2-3 year coach, and then once the team is ready to win, they're going to bring in a winning a coach ready to win. But he's there to build basically the poles, the foundation of it. You know what I mean? And then another coach is going to come in and just finish it off and hopefully bring him to the next step. But Lovie Smith is a great guy to bring and get to the foundation, get your key players in there. He's very good. Players love playing for him. Shit, I would like to play with him. So.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, he walks into a situation a little different than a lot of the other situations around the league. A lot like what John Fox walked into here in Chicago before they hired Matt Nagy. But he walks into a situation where Deshaun Watson has a little bit of controversy swirling around him. That's an unknown situation. He's got a young quarterback that has some moldability. What do you think is going to happen at the quarterback situation for the Texans, Rachel?
It sucks to say this, but again, Davis Mills, I was actually pretty high on him coming out of the draft, but that's a whole nother story. Not for this situation. I really liked him for the 49ers. I really thought the 49ers could have got him in late, like in the second round, maybe third. Obviously, he went in the third round. I thought he'd be a good fit in a Shanahan-esque style of system, right? But so much of the success of a young quarterback is not necessarily the talent that they're coming out of college with, but the system, the stability that is around them. I mean, where you end up has a lot to say about how successful you are. Just look at Ryan Tannehill, you know what I mean? So this is not the situation for Davis Mills. And he had some really good flashes, especially towards the end of the season. He had some good moments. And, how much stock do you want to give to the fact that he wasn't working with a lot? There's absolutely no run game here in Houston. They shipped Mark Ingram off. So you're left with the guy from Arizona.
David Johnson.
Thank you. Yes, David Johnson. You're stuck with him and a bunch of nobodies. The offensive line was bad. He was under pressure constantly.
You don't like Rex Burkhead?
No. Didn't he come in though? He did have one game I saw.
Yeah, he went nuts one game.
Yeah, he did. And I was like, what's going on? Rex Burkhead MVP? But no.
I was playing him against. Yeah, I was playing him in fantasy. Trust me, I know. It was rough.
Yeah, exactly. If you were in a situation where you had Rex Burkhead on your roster, period, I know it was a tough season for you, man. Because I was in the same one. But yeah, it's just he did. I think he surpassed a lot of people's expectations for the situation that he was given with all the turmoil with Deshaun Watson, and Tyrod Taylor is playing fantastic and he goes down. And the offense, like I said, the offensive line, I thought the Texans were going to have a running game this year because they had like 50 running backs back there and all of them have had success in the league, but they didn't do anything with the Texans. The wide receivers, Brandon Cooks is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. No tight end. Nico Collins, young rookie. He looked good here and there. It's just, I don't know. It's just a crap show. I almost cussed on your show. It's just bad. It was just bad. So I think I'm one of the few people that is still hopeful for Davis Mills. Do I think Lovie Smith is maybe, like the offensive mind that's going to really help this young quarterback blossom? No, but I give him a lot of credit for as many hits as he took and as many times as he was sacked and under pressure. That dude doesn't seem to get frazzled. He'll still stand in the pocket. He'll make the throw. Might be an interception, but he's still going to stand in there. He's going to make that throw with like three dudes in his face about to tackle him. So I think there's hope for him. I just don't know if it's here. The Texans in the draft this year, are they going to address the quarterback position? I don't think so. I don't feel like there's any rush from this team to do anything. There's just not. Nick Caserio, the new GM, and then, Easterby, whatever the heck he is, we're not sure. I don't feel like they feel pressured to draft a Kenny Pickens. I don't think so. So I think that they either trade back and just get better everywhere else, or I don't see them make any moves. And hopefully they can get rid of Deshaun before then and get some extra draft picks. They need it, but.
Right, and they still do have Tyrod Taylor on the roster. And, Lovey made a good hire with Pat Hamilton as his offensive coordinator, who has been known to develop quarterbacks. So maybe that is a good sign for Davis Mills and Tyrod Taylor. They might have their best years coming up this next season. Let's move over to college basketball, where the Houston Cougars are 24-4, first place in the American Conference.
Go Cougs!
They lost Marcus Sasser, but boy, they still have been playing pretty darn good with a big win yesterday over the SMU Mustangs, who got them the game before, but they covered the spread yesterday. And I want to get Anthony's thoughts on the Cougars. What sort of seed are you looking for in the tournament, Anthony, for the Cougars? 2 seed, 3 seed?
For the conference tournament?
For the NCAA tournament.
NCAA?
I think they're probably going to be a 4 seed or 3 seed.
Yeah, probably a 3 or 4 seed. This Houston team is dangerous, though. I mean, it depends on what bracket they're in. They can contend. I mean, if they go against KU, I mean, they can go toe-to-toe with KU. I truly believe that. Their only Achilles heel is free throws, as we talked about yesterday, Tooch. 66% free throws. That's not going to cut it. And that's how they lost game 1 versus SMU. In SMU, I know me and you had that -3 early in the season, but that's how they lost, was they missed their free throws. So if they're going to get over the hump, they got to hit those free throws late in the game. But if they can do that, that team could beat almost anybody.
Right. Rachel, what's the mood down there for the Cougars fans?
I mean, yeah, super stoked, coming out of being in the Final Four last year. Kelvin Sampson is for sure the truth.
Great coach.
And and U of H is a basketball school. So while we're bummed about not being as relevant as we used to be in football, ultimately we are a basketball school. So, I mean, we're happy to be here. For me personally, losing Tremont Mark and Marcus Sasser for the season was huge. I would feel a lot better about our chances at getting into a Final Four if they were there. I mean, Sasser especially, he's a big part of this team. Fortunately, the coach is so good, the culture, the philosophy, everybody's so bought in. And, you mentioned the free throws. The thing about the Cougs is that you will never, ever, ever outwork them. You will never see more kids diving on balls, the ball movement. They're so fundamentally sound. They're so well coached and they're so athletic. There's some seniors on the team. I mean, there's a chance, but I feel like there's a lot of good teams in college basketball this year. I don't feel as confident as I did last year with our chances at maybe getting to the finals or something. But I definitely see Sweet 16, Elite 8 in this season, and I'm happy with the large losses that we've taken due to injury.
Yeah, I definitely think they're a Sweet 16 team. As far as the Houston Cougars, the defense is tough, very tough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to go a long way in the tournament. There'll be a number 1 seed in their conference tournament. Do you see them coming out of the conference tournament with the victory there?
Absolutely, because who's going to beat them, right? I mean, SMU, no, we just saw that. Was it yesterday? Yep. And they don't care about rebounding the ball at all. We will out rebound the crap out of you, especially offensive boards, man. The Cougs are, like I said, they just hustle. They're it's like a bunch of little Westbrooks, Russell Westbrooks. They might not be the most talented, highly recruited people, but they're going to outwork you. They're going to out hustle you. And the IQ is so smart. And again, that all goes down to Kelvin Sampson and his son and that coaching staff. And they are so beloved in this city. We're so happy that Tillman Fertitta forked up the money to make damn sure that nobody's taking him from us, because a lot of schools were interested, of course. But I feel like when Kelvin's there, the more success we have, the better they're going to keep recruiting and everything. It's exciting to have good basketball again here in Houston. And as an alumni, I'm stoked.
All right. Rachel, we kept you a little bit long. Real quick, before we let you go, just want to give you ask you a little bit about the baseball lockout and how you think that's going to resolve itself.
Well, I don't think we're going to have the opening day that we planned for. I'm not sure. Was the deadline at like midnight, like Sunday night, as in,
today.
Monday? Or is it
Today.
like 4 p.m. today? What? Okay.
Today.
Yeah, deadline not happening. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know why there's not a greater sense of urgency to get this stuff fixed, especially coming out of 2 years of being in the pandemic. This could be the first season that baseball could have full attendance in every single, baseball park across the land. And we have more vaccinations now than ever, less people missing time from it, knock on wood, but, hopefully Omicron, whatever you call it, is the final one. But it just, I don't understand that there's not a greater sense of urgency, because the world can move on without baseball. Like, it's not the NFL here in America. It's not. People will survive without it. Like, I would think that they would really want to be out there taking advantage of the fact that they could be making more money than they have in the last 2 years. But I don't know what they're doing, but it is what it is. We'll eventually get baseball. It's just not going to be when we thought.
Our buddy Sean Higgs is in the chat room, and he is putting up he wants some Falcons hot takes too.
Matt Ryan, Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan, Hall of Famer. Anybody who
Absolutely.
wants to fight me on that, we can fight.
And I will not. I'm agreeing with you. I love Matt Ryan, Matty Ice. Rachel, again, well, thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you. Not only are you beautiful, talented, and knowledgeable, but a lot of fun to hang with here in our podcast. And hope we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get to talk some Astros next time after the lockout ends, and
Absolutely.
some Houston Rockets and NBA playoffs. But thank you again for your time.
Days.
Yes.
That'd be nice. We can celebrate when that happens, if it happens.
Yep. And thanks again, Anthony, for backing me up and being in the sidecar. And we'll see you next time. Maximum Edge Sports Wagering Show. Thank you.
And I'm the team captain. He's the preview, and I'm the main attraction. Unstoppable.